So we just pounded in our pipe for our beam trellis. So you can see the vertical pipe pounded into the ground. Okay, and what I'm doing next, I have this piece of wire attached pretty close to the ground. And this is where it's important that you have the beans planted in 2 rows. Because what I'm going to do is kind of just lean them to the side and put the wire right down in between them. And this wire is going to be what I tie my strings on. I'm going to tie it between the wire and the pipe up above. So I just go right down in between the 2 rows. Oh, this one is ready to climb a string already. That's all that is. All the way down to the other end, and then I'm going to wire this onto my other pipe. Okay, so then I'm going to tighten this wire as tight as I can, pull it tight, wrap it around, and twist it. Okay, so now come back over here to the center of the row. Okay, if I tied a string now between here and the top, as you can imagine, this wire is going to come up really high to where the beans almost won't reach it. Okay, so I just happen to have my 2 kids over here. Hey, you guys aren't supposed to be in the garden. What happened? I also happen to have a stake. I'm going to put it right in the center here. I have a notch carved in it that the wire is going to fit into. Kind of sloped up. So I'm going to pound this in about here and attach that wire to it. The stake has to go pretty deep in order to hold, because we're going to have all these strings pulling on it. Okay, I'm going to put this wire right into there. Pound it a little more. Okay, now when I start tying my strings, I'm actually going to go right in the middle between my end post and that stake and tie this up as tight as I can, just with yarn. I'll show you that here in a little bit. Once I have this one done, then I'll split the distance and go halfway here, halfway over here, and continue that process. If you don't do that, if you kind of went from one end to the other, by the time you get to the other end, the first ones you did are going to be so loose it's going to look funny because your strings are just going to be flapping in the wind. Alright, I'll see you in a little bit with the strings. Okay, so like I said, I went about halfway between the post and my stake, and I just tied a piece of yarn on the wire. And then what I do is go up kind of a little bit at a diagonal over the top and down. And then I go over about 8 inches and break the yarn. And I make this pretty tight, so I lift up and pull down at the same time. Make it pretty tight, because as I tie more, it's going to get even tighter, and if I don't make this first one tight, by the time I'm done it'll be super loose. And I like my strings to be tight. So tie that there. And then split the distance between the one that I just tied and the stake and do another one. And then I'll go to the other side, do the same thing, and just keep splitting the distances until I have it all filled up with strings. Okay, so here we have our ultimate pole bean trellis all set up. The last thing you do is, just as the beans are growing, you go along, just kind of pull them over towards the string, start wrapping them around, and then they will grow all the way up. One other thing I wanted to tell you again, when you tie your string on, tie it on, go over the top, come down, cut your string and tie it again. So you're only going, you tie it, go up, down, tie it, and then do another one. Some people will go up, over the top, come down, underneath, go up again, a bunch of times without tying. But then if the string breaks anywhere along the whole thing, the whole thing's going to go slack. Where with this method, if it breaks somewhere, only 2 strings are loose and the rest is still fine. Alright, that's it.